Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Backcast, the podcast thing where we talk about our attempt to play through every game ever, but don't actually play through every game ever on. I'm Dan, joined as always by Joe.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey,
and,
Joe.
I mean, eventually we'll play everything ever, right?
Right, but this is the thing where we talk about
Oh,
the
we
games.
just talk about those other
We talk
games.
about playing every game ever, but
we don't
play.
actually on the Backcast because
I mean,
okay.
I wish you'd put your phone away, but otherwise we're not playing every game ever.
I mean, I gotta play phone games.
You gotta check your loot boxes for Imperial
loot
Knight
boxes
or
and
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eventually, I'll get more legendaries.
Yeah, eventually.
It's gonna happen,
right? Statistically. Yeah, and Mim's head's gonna drop for me at some point.
I mean, especially when you don't play the game.
Yeah, right? Deep cut. Anyhow. So, we have had, this week, we had an interesting little test thing, or not this week, last week. Within the last week of this video going live,
yes,
we'll have our Dark Souls chat will have gone up, where we were talking about just kind of our general feel of the Dark Souls series. And I really liked that. That was a lot of fun.
Right on. Yeah, it was. I mean, Dark Souls is a great phenomena in
right.
video games at this point.
Right, and we're in that interesting place of being like casually hardcore, but like hardcore in our casual. I don't know. We're like
I'm hardcore casual,
right? That's like business casual.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Anyway,
you get to wear shorts on Friday.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a downgrade. I'm never wearing pants.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you ask me to put my pants on. Just,
I mean, and Dark Souls, like, being what it is also, like, part of our kind of drive to love Monster Hunter as hard as we do.
Yeah.
Are going to.
And difficult games.
Yeah, difficult games in general.
And and we talk about that a little bit, what you get out of that sense of accomplishment. But anyway, that said, I'm looking forward to seeing what people think of it besides us, because it was
sure, yeah.
It seems that the Backcast is probably one of the most popular things we do. We have small numbers to gauge from.
I'll give you my feedback once I actually listen to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were there when we recorded.
I was there when we recorded it, but you never know. I mean, hindsight.
I just have to see after it posts.
Hindsight, yeah. Once it's like edited down.
See it on my big screen, and then I'll tell you. But yeah, so it's an attempt to try and take things in that direction, but still keeping with the game specific or focusing it down. And yeah, so that's
exploratory features and whatnot as we find our footing. As a new channel here.
So feedback is most definitely not required, but, it's worth extra credit. So
there you go. Extra credit. Yeah.
Bonus points for anybody who gets us some feedback on that.
There you go.
And I liked it is not quite feedback.
Constructive criticism. Welcome. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
Haterade. Give us the haterade.
Yeah, right. And of course, the next day after we record... so I've spent the week playing Dark Souls 3, getting sucked back into it, which is the impetus for that video. And we then record that video, and the next day I'm texting Joe, oh, hey, FromSoft, the guys who make Dark Souls, just announced a remaster of the first Dark Souls game coming out in May.
The Nintendo Direct Mini.
Well, that was also an announcement, but it's coming out for PC, PS4, and Xbox.
Is coming out for
it's coming out for everything, and so we don't know what that even is yet. But hey, if you've got really excited about our Dark Souls talk,
and if you haven't played Dark Souls, it's a great opportunity to jump in.
Potentially, wait a bit and see what it looks like.
Definitely true.
If there's not enough, get the old one for cheap. If you don't care about the graphics,
if you have one of the old systems, yeah.
But if you're watching our footage. Dark Souls 3 looks really good, and if they do that or better with Dark Souls 1, oh man.
Yeah, that might be enough to get me to purchase it again, but I don't know. I still have it on 360, so most likely I'll just go back and finish it on 360.
See, I've purchased it on 360, on PC, and I think that's it. But I've purchased the Dark Souls games multiple times. PS4 and PC for Dark Souls 2, same for 3. I haven't bought Bloodborne yet.
I might be more inclined to get it if they do add something new, but as of recording, we don't really know anything.
Just an announcement.
An announcement of a remaster.
And some sick box art. Oh, man.
And that was what? Going to come out in December, it said?
May.
December 5th or 5/20. Oh, that's right. The date thing was all... they did weird international date.
Yeah, there's no 25.
Right.
There's no 25 month.
There's no 25 month. I was just thinking...
It's military month.
Military month, yeah. Military calendar.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, May 25th.
May 25th is when they're all going to hit.
Is
so
when the remasters hit. So, we'll probably see some more pretty quickly then if it's coming out in
I
May.
mean, expect a trickle. E3's after that, so it won't have anything from E3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're probably going to see more about it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And I'm trying to see if there's any specific events to keep your eyes open for, but I don't know of anything. More Nintendo Directs, I suppose.
Yeah. There was some other stuff in there that was kind of interesting.
Before we jump into that,
okay, yeah.
I will say I can't
segue if you're not going to
you're
jump on the segue.
You're forcing the segue.
Forcing?
I was not done yet.
You were talking about Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, because that's
right.
pursuant to Dark Souls.
Fine. What do you want to
Welcome
talk about,
to the
Dan?
argument cast. As we nitpick our way.
What do you want to talk about next?
Monster Hunter Generations.
What is that?
That's the last 3DS version of Monster Hunter.
And is it out already?
It is out already.
Okay.
It is the newest Monster Hunter that's here in America. There's a Switch version called Monster Hunter Double Cross that you can import, but then you're going to have to be looking up YouTube guides because there's no English version. But you can still play Monster Hunter on a... Anyway, I'm not that far down the hole yet. But I downloaded the 3DS demo for Generations and very nearly went out and bought a Circle Pad Pro. And I was playing around with that and seeing where that was going. Almost. So I spent some time with that, and here's the thing: I tried the heavy bow gun, which is what I'm all in.
I mean,
on.
how did it feel being on a different system?
Awkward.
Okay, and that's what I found.
That's why I said the Circle Pad Pro, which is a literal right stick adapter that you clip onto your 3DS.
Yeah. I had the same problems when I tried the 4 demo back in the day.
Right, because on the 3DS you have your circle pad on the left and the D-pad right below it, and one of those is to move, one of those is the camera, and it feels awkward.
It's bad. Yeah, it's real bad.
I got used to it. I got through some of the tutorial stuff, and the Sword and Shield felt pretty good. But also, it's like, I don't want to get mixed up into this. It's like, I was looking for something to fill the void until I got there.
Don't worry. It's like we got a week and a half before.
Well, we've got a week till the demo. Less than. The new demo is out the beta.
This weekend, yeah.
Is this weekend is when you'll be hearing this. And then the following week is when the actual
full release is out.
And I'm in a weird place now anyway, but I'm all sorts of hype. So Dark Souls it is for the time being.
Dark Souls is going to
maybe less remnant. I'm still
fill the void of your Monster Hunter lust.
There's going to be some void filling going on. I just don't ask me. Don't kink shame.
I don't. I mean, I don't yuck on anybody's yum.
So yeah. So that's. I just want to throw that out there. I tried it for the. I mean, if anybody's really that desperate, I'd look at it, but probably not.
just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait for the good one.
So the stuff for Monster Hunter is shaping up to be pretty exciting. If you're looking forward to that. Yeah, but I'm getting desperate. So that's my report on that. But also that's coming out pretty soon that you want to talk about a little bit, Joe.
Yes, sadly, on the same day as Monster Hunter World, we're getting hit with probably one of the most exciting fighting games that I have ever had the hype train on. Same.
And also the thing that I was actually excited for prior to getting into this whole Monster Hunter kick.
Yeah, Dragon Ball FighterZ or FighterZ.
FighterZ.
However they're going to call it. It doesn't matter. But it's the first Dragon Ball fighting game that I will play since probably PlayStation 1.
Wow.
There was an old Dragon Ball GT fighting game that I used to play a lot. But this game looks gorgeous.
It's by the guys who did Guilty Gear. If you've ever if
you know anything about Guilty Gear, they have always made beautiful games.
Well, and the style that they've done with their last couple of them, where it's all 3D rendered, but it does spin moving camera angles that gives it the look of hand-drawn animation, and it's
pretty incredible. I've always been a big fan of the Guilty Gear
tasty
stuff as well.
I want
Exert Sign.
I want to eat it. It's just.
But yeah, this one there, it's still more of a full 3D with the Dragon Ball Fighters, but cel shaded and everything looks gorgeous.
Some characters from Super A lot from Z, and then some original characters, I
Really?
guess. Well, they have Android 21.
Oh, right. Isn't that from... I don't know.
No, she's new. She's new.
I have not been following Super, so I really don't know what is
She's not-
canon
she-
anymore.
My experience for Dragon Ball Z is I've seen bits of Dragon Ball, and then I've also watched a big chunk of the abridged series.
Okay, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and I own all of it, and also GT, the no longer canon
Right.
Dragon Ball series.
Is it no longer canon? I thought everything has happened.
I think Super rewrote that canon. And
What I understand
they
is
had to disavow GT.
I know initially it hadn't yet got to where GT was happened.
Well, GT's like a weird time hopping monstrosity. Sort of. It's in the future.
I know Goku gets turned
wished into a little kid again. It's a mess, and it's also not great. But it has one of the best Dragon Ball theme songs ever.
I need to ask
Google that, kids. It's great.
Who wished him into a child?
One of the guys from the movies, like Garlic Jr. or something.
Okay.
I don't remember if that's
okay.
who it was.
That makes it less awkward.
It was an old villain that was like, oh, I wish Goku was a little kid again so we could beat him up.
Magically sneaks the
Gets
Dragon
a hold
Balls.
of the Dragon Balls, makes a wish. Yeah,
and then Goku still kicks their butt.
Classic anime. Well, then people get kidnapped.
I know that's where
they
the
travel
red,
all through space.
The Red Saiyan stuff starts showing up, right?
Yeah,
the Monkey Saiyan.
They take it to the next level in that.
And it was not popular.
It wasn't, but I think that was a time and place thing. It just didn't fit very well. It was not. It was definitely not as good a show as Z was.
Right. Okay. And
I think it was trying to attack. It was trying to approach like an old style of anime when most of all the other anime had kind of evolved into a little bit more mature.
Right on.
Kind of a thing. But anyway, yeah, beautiful fighting game. We will probably have some footage of it.
Yeah,
once,
I will be terrible.
It's out.
I will be terrible at it, but I will pick Krillin, so it'll be theme appropriate. I'll play lore.
There you go.
I'll play lore appropriate.
RP in the fighting.
Well,
game.
I mean, who else? Could it be? Oh, Yamcha. So I'll have to be Krillin, Yamcha, and who else gets beat down all the time?
Also, I don't know. Maybe a little bit discouraging is that these guys usually make very complicated fighting games, so it's not really a Street Fighter. Jump in, know some stuff. Like it'll be a little bit of a learning curve. If you're into fighting games, definitely check it out.
Though there is an open beta at some point we saw right before we sat down to record.
Oh, right.
It might be over by the time you hear this.
True.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's the case.
It's going to be going on as we record anyway.
But we actually just got our capture card, and then we're trying to figure it out the work. Maybe we'll do some.
Maybe we can get some of that going. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. No promises. I mean, if we've got footage of it, we'll be like, "Hey, here's the demo. Watch us be bad at this.
Watch us be bad at fighting games." Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun thing to explore and jump into.
Absolutely, 100%. So we're all excited for that, even though it is really going to get backseated rather hard to Monster Hunter.
Likely. I mean, it's just kind of how things go.
It is. I mean,
I will have to wait a couple weeks until I can pick it up after I get Monster Hunter. So
right. Yes, we'll
get around to it.
Yeah,
no worries.
See what we can do. But that said, now we go to the Nintendo Direct Mini.
Nintendo Direct Mini that came when was
this
that?
Week.
It was this week.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, the Nintendo Direct Mini dropped.
Yeah,
and actually had some kind of cool stuff in it, aside from ports.
Mostly ports,
but there's still some. Some of that is exciting.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that The World Ends With You is being remastered for Switch.
I love the art style. I've seen it. I remember seeing it, and I was like, "Oh, that would be a cool game to pick up at some point." Was it DS?
It was DS.
It was DS.
Yeah.
Okay, although not 3DS. I was like, because I had a DS, and I was like, "Oh, I should pick this up at some point," and never did. And I know there's like a fashion element. Other than that, okay, tell me like I'm 5. What is this game about?
It's been a while because I played it right when it came out.
Right.
I still have it. And I didn't even finish it all the way, but I got a good way into it. And it's a Square Enix. Where's it Square Enix? Or was it proper Square?
It would have been Square Enix.
It's Square Enix, yeah. So it's got a Final Fantasy vibe to it, and you can kind of see that in its almost Kingdom Hearts-esque sensibilities, but it's very fashion forward. And you're a kid who gets kind of transported into a weird world, and you have like a limited amount of time to get out or
so it's a Persona game?
Kinda. It's very Persona-esque.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that was a joke, but
yeah, kinda. It's kind of like that, and you're collecting these like buttons that allow you to cast different spells.
Buttons as in pins?
Kinda, yeah, pin buttons kind of thing. They all have like different little designs on them, and
Are
each
they-
one corresponds to like a spell that you can. I don't know if you're familiar with how like spell casting worked in Okami, but you actually draw a shape on the screen to cast different things, and you can do them in pretty rapid succession.
That will probably be gone on the Switch.
Is it not touchscreen?
Yeah, but what if you have it docked?
Oh, right. It may just be like
Unless it's a motion.
It may be a motion on a stick. Then it's possible. And
Interesting.
yeah, because you use the stylus on the DS just to draw stuff on screen.
Right. I saw there was a Castlevania that did that, and that seemed really cool. But I got bogged down in the Castlevania platforming sections. Okay, we're gonna put you in a clock tower with Medusa heads flying back at you constantly. I'm like, oh right, Castlevania. Well, screw this.
Yeah,
But so I didn't get farther into it.
This is a little less like in your face, obviously, with difficulty wise.
Right.
So like you're on screen with a bunch of enemies, and you're casting these things as you have as the cooldowns come up and whatnot, and then you are just like moving through a city, like trying to find out more information. It is kind of Persona-y in that way. I would not really compare it directly to a Persona, but it is its own beast where you're trying to learn more about the city and the people.
Shades of Personas.
Yeah, and you're trying to like complete quests.
I'm sure there's a mystery.
To earn buttons from people. Yes, and there's a lot of people that you're interacting with that are kind of like have different personalities, and you have to figure out how to either help or whatever. So it does have some shades of Persona in it for sure, and it actually kind of makes me excited to get back into that once I have a Switch and actually finish it this time, because it looks like they've upped a lot of the spell casting animations, and it looks cool. It looks
very cool.
It looks a lot more like the art
crisper.
style.
It's crisper,
very much so. I mean, it's not on a tiny DS screen, so
right. And if it comes down to it, we have a Studio Switch, so
yeah, which is going to be awesome. I will be excited to get into that.
Very, very cool. Yeah. All right, and one of the we both were kind of like, oh, that looks nice. Yeah. Hyrule Warriors, which is the Wii U and the 3DS versions are getting merged into one version. And,
it's another port / remaster.
But it's a double port. It's a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 port.
It's a 2-for port.
Where they're just kind of merging.
Yeah, so they're taking everything that was on both versions of those games because they were different, putting them together, and then re-releasing it on the Switch with Breath of the Wild costumes for both Link and Zelda.
Which is cool.
Which, I mean, Dynasty Warrior games, here's the thing is...
if you're not familiar with Dynasty Warrior games,
then you're actually probably better off. But
you're probably better off.
Those of us who get stressed out at work and just need to kill stuff sometimes when you get home, those are pretty good games. And I sunk a lot of hours into Dynasty Warriors Gundam 1.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah, right. Given what you know about me.
I don't know that I've ever played a Dynasty Warriors game. I've seen a lot of gameplay, but I don't think I've ever actually played one.
Well, I happen to know we also have a PS3, and also I can get a hold of copies of Dynasty Warriors Gundam 1, 2, and 3. So
I mean, I'll look into it. I'll see if there's maybe a genre or something that I'd be more interested in tackling, because I know they've done a bunch of different Dynasty Warrior-esque
Well, I think
games.
This is the one. This is Hyrule Warriors.
Or Hyrule Warriors might be. I don't know.
Well, how do you feel
there
about
are aspects of the Hyrule Warriors that look okay to me, but I don't necessarily care that much.
At the end of the day, it's just the same thing.
It's
the skin that you want.
It's just you bashing through.
How do you feel about
tens of hundreds of enemies?
Dragon Warrior became Dragon Quest, and they have Dragon Quest Warriors, which is essentially the same thing.
The Akira Toriyama style.
It became that, but the old NES series Dragon Warrior became Dragon Quest.
Okay,
so you have no fondness for that, so that doesn't help either.
Not really,
because they did the same thing.
Did they do a Dynasty Warriors?
There's
game
two of those. There's two of those.
I might like the look of that more. That might be a little more interesting.
Yeah, see, I never did jive on the Akira Toriyama look, but I have slowly come around to it with watching a lot of the Dragon Ball Abridged and. Krillin won me over.
It kind of has it's got its place.
Everybody has the foreheads are just so big, especially on women. Women
if
have
you're into really big foreheads.
Women's with big foreheads.com. Sorry. Don't Google
that's
it.
probably a real site. What are you saying that for? Inappropriate.
This is a family podcast. What is your deal? Anyway, but it looks good. I have a fondness of Dynasty Warriors, and maybe. That's all I can say. Maybe.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I would like to see more of it. There's not really. Is it just you going in killing tons and tons of dudes? Is there a story?
Hundreds upon thousands of dudes is always the baseline. I think.
Is there a campaign aspect to them? Okay.
It is a single player game.
Right.
So there has to be a campaign. It's not just randomly spawn area with 1,000 dudes, kill them and you win.
I mean, I don't see the problem in that. Like horde mode is a thing these
Well,
days.
you can also you also level up and get real strong, and yeah, you get even more ridiculous.
Okay, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. That seems like something I would be into normally.
Yeah. So
and in a Gundam one, if it had the right Gundam, maybe
right, because Iron-Blooded Orphans was not around. Neither was G-Rec.
Yeah, you see, that already kind of turns me off.
Right, but I mean, if you, I'm trying to think, you haven't really watched some of the other stuff to the point of having any fondness for them.
Yeah, I mean, I've started the original, and I've watched a bit of that, but I don't have a ton of, love for the RX or any of the Zaku's.
You're a monster.
I am a monster.
You're a monster.
I like weird stuff. What can I say?
Well, I mean,
it's got to be it's got to have the right look.
What I did when I played
style,
I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of the Gundam series when I picked up the first one, and I ended up going with the Shining Gundam, which is from G Gundam.
Isn't that one in Try as well, or Build Fighters?
No, that's the Shining Gundam. No, sorry, that's the burning. That's the build burning Gundam. That's kind of loosely based on the Shining.
Yeah, based on the Shining. I know it's not the Shining.
Yeah, because it's that martial arts one that had
not to be confused with the Jack Nicholson movie, The Shining.
The Shining, which is a great movie.
Also great.
Yeah, so this will be a shorter podcast today, so why don't we just jump into The Shining? Tell me about
I think there's better places to learn about The Shining.
This is true. Oh, this is not an educational podcast, so I'm going to give you that idea. But the Shining Gundam doesn't use weapons at all. It's all melee focused.
Right.
And you're kind of shorter and a little bit smaller than the other guys, so you're just wading into like these bigger mechs and just tearing them to pieces, and that was always fun.
Okay. It's
all martial arts style.
It's fine, I guess.
It's all right. I mean, and then I always thought the Wing Gundam was kind of goofy, but it would just basically do screen clearing lasers, and that's
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at some gameplay and see if it's worth my time.
It was PS3 360, so it was a while ago. So the gameplay is probably not going to be.
Yeah.
Also, they've never been pushing the cutting edge on those games graphically because they have to put 150 guys on the screen at any given time.
Understandable.
So
if you're going to have that many sprites on the screen at one time.
So the one I was impressed with that was not made by the same people was 99 Nights, which was the same kind of concept.
I mean, most of them were pretty samurai themed, right?
This one was a Western themed one.
Ooh,
Western, and not like Western as in Old West, but Western as in Western fantasy. Knights in armor.
Okay, dragons and stuff.
Not so much.
Oh, just nice.
Yeah, hundreds of dragons running at you, and you're just knocking them over.
That's what I want. Give me a little dude with a sword, just wrecking dragons,
just jumping over like what?
Yes,
sure. That would actually. Depends on how they did it. I love dragons.
I mean, the more ridiculous, the more interested I would be. Honestly,
then I recommend for you the ending to Bionic Commando.
All right then.
Have you not played Bionic?
I have not played Bionic.
Or Rearmed or what? Not Rearmed. Rearmed is the new one, the redone one for also 360. Yeah, that game was weird.
I believe it.
Yeah. And then the other thing that they announced that I'm interested in is a game that has not yet launched on the platforms that I'm looking to pick it up on, which is Ys 8.
Now, you've mentioned the Ys games a number of times to me, how you have a fondness for a lot of them.
Without really fully understanding why I have a fondness for a lot of them.
And since I have never played an Ys game, why? Like, they're RPGs, right? Just JRPG?
No,
not at all.
There is leveling in it.
Okay. And they are RPGs.
No, there's just leveling in them.
Okay. Is it just like a narrative then?
Yeah, imagine it's the closest thing. Okay, the first one I played was on PS1, and it was essentially what you would expect. Like if, let's say, instead of Ocarina of Time being the big Zelda, let's say if they did that in a Link to the Past sort of fashion, and that's all anybody made. Like it's basically that. It's like carrying down that branch.
Okay.
In that it's a kind of the isometric top-down.
More of an action RPG?
Action RPG. You gain levels. You get better at what you do. You can equip equipment, but there's no speccing. There's no putting your points places. So there is a leveling system, but I'm saying a full-on RPG is a stretch.
Well, I mean, and even a lot of the Final Fantasies weren't like that, though, either.
Right, but you're only
you were leveling, and
but it's just you.
Turn-based combat and everything.
You don't have any allies. It's just you.
Oh, okay.
You are Adol Kristen. and every game you have been except for Origin, which was a kind of a prequel that came out somewhat later. But they started on was it the regular Nintendo or the Super Nintendo? Was where the first one came out, where it wasn't even press button, you swing sword. It was bump into enemy. If you hit him face on with you both deal damage to each other. If you hit him from the side, you just deal damage to him and he doesn't.
You're just walking into dudes.
It was they called it the bump combat system, and it was the funniest thing ever.
Was it an acronym? Please tell me it was.
No. Oh, that would have been so much better.
Oh man.
Bouncing ultimate maximum punishment. Oh, that would have been so much better.
Oh man.
So it started with that, and I have since played Ys 1, and boy, are those ones difficult because they're the old school, someone will mention something once, but if you're not in the right spot at the right time, it doesn't matter. Follow a guide to get through this nowadays kind of game.
Okay. So just
it's
not handhold,
not approachable at all.
Just really hard and ridiculous.
But you end up bumping a lot of things and leveling way past what you need to be. So that's the thing too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've picked up a couple of them since then. So the first one I played, I think, was 4. And then I've played that.
And are they all just this weird bump combat?
No, the first 2 were.
Okay.
And then they've switched to the more straight-up Link to the Past analog style.
That seems more approachable.
And they've brought the camera down less kind of overhead, but still kind of not quite side-scroll. 3-dimensional movement kind of play. And that the most recent ones have been full-on third person behind the back.
Okay.
Kind of moving close to the Tales of series.
The Tales, yeah. Okay. And I've seen a little bit of Tales games. They look cool. I'd like to play one of those at some point.
My favorite is Tales of Vesperia.
What's the new one? Tales of Berseria is the
Tales of Berseria. There's also, I picked up... well,
you said you were interested in Ys 8, so...
Oh, yeah, Ys 8. Yeah, sorry.
Like, what are your thoughts, on what we saw from Nintendo Direct?
I want to say the Switch version looks a little bit less good than the PC version of the song.
Oh, is it on PC as well?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
They had some issues with the localization and some optimization and some undefined PC problems.
Sometimes I really like bad localization. I hope they don't get too hung up on that.
Well, no, I mean, it was in a no, what are you guys doing sort of way. Like, there's no excuse for this, not, oh, it's quirky and it's charming. Just like, I think we've moved past the quirky translation phase of video games, and it's now just, and we're into, oh, this is bad. This is just bad translation. If I had to guess.
Bad translation is fun too, though, sometimes. All your base belong to us.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're past that. That's quirky. That's still quirky. You're like, it's funny. Clearly,
it's funny because it doesn't. Because I played some anime apps on my phone that are very badly very poorly localized, and it's hilarious because the story parts and interactions with characters in these games
feels off.
It's very just it's not important to gameplay or anything. It's just weird flavor. And it's funny to see it poorly localized. And I mean, I don't seek that out in every game I play, obviously, but sometimes it's fun.
I like the idea of you're looking up how well the game's translated, and if it's a 5 out of 5,
if it's 5
you're
out of 5, I'm
no,
I'm not that interested.
Pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah,
I need it localized by Japanese people.
I have needs. I need it to be bad.
I need it to be real bad. Otherwise, it's not going to hold my interest.
Just call me Big Brother. That's all I need.
What?
Because it's an anime game. I assume there's
it's on senpai and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's close. You just need anyway. But
I mean, they just use that word now. They don't even try to translate it.
That's what I always find out. The interesting is the ones that kind of half translate it.
There's enough anime words that have made it into American lexicon at this point.
Well, yes and no. I think it's enough words have translated for the people who are going to buy those types of game. I thought that was great about Persona 5, because in the past they would have tried to Americanize a lot of some very Japanese specific things, and in this they're like, no, dude, you're in Japan. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm glad Persona is still as Japanese as it is.
I think they even have switched it out to call it things in the past you'd have the monetary system would have been switched to dollars, and that's straight up yen.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that's one of those things I think is fine. Like, I mean, yen, senpai, that kind of stuff is so ubiquitous at this point.
I mean, for us who live on the internet, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as I don't know, weeb adjacent as we are.
I think it's cute that you don't put yourself in that part of that Venn diagram.
I'm not an otaku.
No, you're not. But that doesn't. But
I don't wish I was Japanese. I don't identify as Japanese.
Weeb adjacent, bro.
Weeb adjacent's pretty good. I like that.
It is, but it doesn't define us. You're, no. Tell me how.
Like I don't accept your.
Tell me how deep into Food Wars you are.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is. Season 2, I guess.
No. That's what I'm saying is, but exactly.
But I'm watching it dubbed.
Yeah, still.
So if I was a true weeb,
still pretty weebish.
Subs or nothing.
Still pretty weebish, dude. And besides, you've admitted to me it's because of your wife that you're watching in English.
I still watch stuff in English though.
Yeah.
Like, the only time I think most of the time I will actually watch the dubs. I have a weird masochism, I guess. Dub fetish, I guess. I don't know. I like to see how awkward / how well they do it.
It's not good
sometimes.
Unless it hurts. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. It's a little masochistic. I agree.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is I mean, I can't mock. I grew up watching Robotech, but then once I actually got a hold of the Macross DVDs, I was like, oh, so much better.
Yeah. Oh, like Gundam. I'm watching that. I'm watching the English version of that.
Yeah, but you're watching G-Rec, and G-Rec is garbage anyway.
I'm watching OG, like the one with Amuro and everything.
I'm
watching that in English.
Bring those Blu-rays back. I refuse.
Hey, I was watching it with the wife. I was not going to be able to get away with subs.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's it.
But still, it is interesting, and it is real bad. It's so bad because it's like it's from back in the day.
Are they using the original dub?
I don't.
Does it sound like it? Does it sound like it?
I don't know. It looks. I mean, it's bad.
Does it sound like Voltron?
It's all bad. Yes, of course it does.
Then yes, you're probably using the original dub there. Wow.
Why else would I mean, I don't know. Is the Japanese really that much better? Just sounding. I mean, it's still
better.
It's still from what, the 80s?
79.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking old anime. I mean, I don't know. It's me watching old Gundam is purely academic at this point. Like, I have no reason to go back and watch it other than like, hey, I'm curious where this all started.
You could read a wiki, but it's not as interesting.
I don't like doing that.
No.
Like, my wife says that too all the time. She's like,
I'm
read a wiki. And I'm like, no.
This is my argument against it. You could read a wiki, but you don't get that.
I don't, yeah. And I'm like, I listen to dumb Star Wars extended universe audiobooks and I get made fun of, and then she's like, you just like read a wiki to get this, and I'm like, no, this is great. This is like, it's bad. It's real bad.
I need to feel the pain inside of me.
Yeah, like I need the full experience. Like, why would I waste time just reading somebody's Wikipedia
somebody's summary when they're basically pulling whole parts from this book anyway?
Exactly, and it's through somebody else's lens of like experiencing something. So they may find something interesting that I think is stupid.
Yeah, and
that doesn't help.
Yeah, the only time I do that was for 40K lore, and it's so funny because I did stumble on a wiki that's like trying to describe some backstory stuff, but at a point they're just summarizing one of the books because it's pulling out these. It goes from like a historical broad overview to like a paragraph by paragraph, beat by beat of this book, and I'm going, well, this is interesting, I guess, but. Clearly, someone's like, I don't know. Like, I don't like
honestly,
doing it.
With the 40K, like that seems like the way to do it because
there's so much.
Because all of 40K is so dense. Like, I'd rather have kind of a distilled textbook version of 40K. I wish that existed.
Somebody kickstart the 40K
40KU
40K for Dummies.
Dummies may be a little too
Cliff Notes
down. Cliff Notes as well. I would like a legit like. History textbook. Give me like give me a timeline. Give me where things happen when, and that would be a lot more approachable to me than the actual fiction of 40K.
I like that. The problem is how they do dates in 40K is you wouldn't know which book to pick up first.
That's what I'm saying. I want like a distilled textbook version.
But I'm saying, but if it was done like textbooks, you know how it does 1830 to 1865. Yeah, it would be M41.935 points.
And as long as that's consistent throughout, you eventually could.
That's how they do the dates in 40K.
You could figure that out,
right? But I'm saying, but as a beginner, you wouldn't know what you're looking at. You thought you're looking at the ISDN code,
right? Which is fine, and as long as it's like there, like I don't need it to like correspond to actual date, like Christian
But
if
if you want it like a history book, it's going to have to be chronological like that.
Right, which is fine, and that's what I would want. It would be more interesting to me to read where they were when things happened.
I'm also going to have to get you my copy of the Infantryman's Uplifting Primer.
What is
That's
that?
an actual published book. It's the basically the
Is it like a fake propaganda thing for the?
No, it's the Soldier's Handbook for guardsmen.
For the guardsmen.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it basically it's all, but it is propaganda in it shows gene stealers as these little cute little weak bugs.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I like fake faux propaganda stuff. It's great. It's why I like the
it's
Wolfenstein.
It's even smaller. So
ad campaigns.
It's smaller than a normal book, so it looks like you could tuck it into a pocket someplace.
All right, that's cute.
It's not quite pocket sized, but it's close in a way that you're like, okay, this is pretty great. I think it's also it was $3 or $4. I'm like, I was buying something else on Amazon. I'm like, why not?
That sounds all right.
Give me the Uplifting Primer.
That sounds all right. The Uplifting Primer.
I was still into IG or Imperial Guard or
Astra Militarum.
Astra Militarum, as they are now known.
Now that they can copyright it.
Yeah, whatever. No, they changed it so they can copyright it. Yeah, that's
so disappointing.
Well, understandable, but also you're just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's sad when the market interferes with
It's
beloved property.
Look, bro, they're Space Marines. No one's going to call them Adeptus Astartes.
It's true.
No one's going to do that.
It's true.
Or they changed the Eldar to something else too.
Did they really?
And I
just don't like Eldar at all. So
right, and then the Dark Eldar or something else. That's also why the new faction, the Unid or whatever it is.
What are they?
Eldar Death God cult that's came back.
I already don't care. I already don't care.
Yeah, except for she just rolls up onto Macragge, the home of the Ultramarines, is like, oh yeah, I woke up your Primarch. That doesn't happen. That wouldn't.
I don't know that is how anything works anymore. You can't just say that doesn't happen, especially if it just did.
In official lore, that's what happened, and I'm sure they have a better reason than that. But essentially, she's the avatar of this thing. Basically,
trust me, man. Yeah. Star Wars fans know. You can't just say that doesn't happen because it totally can.
Well, here's the problem with 40K is Matt Ward already happened to 40K.
Is he a driving force in how bad everything's got?
Not anymore. He got fired or he left, and people hate him. But he was the guy that was real responsible. You remember when you were first getting in, and it was real bad with the X is more powerful than Y, but Y is more powerful than Z, and Z beats X, and it just kind of everything's the most it got real bad under him, and he did some real dumb stuff with lore.
I kind of missed that edition of the rules, though.
Well, but you have a unit of Grey Knights, the incorruptible, unstoppable, holiest of warriors. But you're like, oh, in order to stop this demon, we actually have to kill this unit of Sisters of Battle and adorn our armor with their blood, and then go into combat that way.
That's weird.
And you're like,
was that a lore thing?
Well, it was, but that codex is now no longer lore. So it's gone.
Yeah, that's why 40K lore is kind of just
I think he's also the guy that had the Blood Angels ally with the Necrons for something. Yeah. Go ahead and let that sink in.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but if people didn't know that and actually know those two factions, they're going, the hell? Yeah, anyway.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Sorry, we're getting off track.
That's getting in the weeds of 40K, which is not cut and dry,
and also something I could do it at the drop of the hat.
And it's not that interesting. I'm just whatever.
You got to rein me in every now and then. I understand that people aren't interested in this, but I'm still gonna go.
I know.
What about me? What about
my stuff?
What about my interests?
Speaking of my interests, I've been playing WoW. Finally got my my Warlock and my Paladin to level 110.
Okay, so how many characters are at max level for you?
Oh, that's probably 6, I think, at this point.
Out of how many?
5 or 6 out of, I think they let you have 12 now, because you can have one of every class. I think it's how it shakes out.
Okay.
I mean, we're at that point in the expansion. It's the end is on its way, so I'm slowly going through and getting all of my alt characters to max level. Probably won't raid with many of them, or if any.
You never know.
I won't, unless I'm going to actually switch to them and make them my new main.
Well, basically, the idea is the only time that people really start getting to this point is they're like, okay, we know some class balance changes are coming through. we know they're going to change up some play styles. I need as many characters to max level as I can because I don't know who I'm going to switch to.
And also, if you're going to like take advantage of all of the different things they throw at you as far as like making a bunch of easy gold, you kind of have to have max level alts because you're class hall. They can send out missions for ridiculous amounts of gold now. And it's a good way to just pay for your sub.
Have you been paid for your sub with gold?
I have a number of times, yeah,
but not consistently.
Not consistently. I don't gold farm enough. I don't try and do the auction house very much. So
see,
it's kind of as it's convenient for the amount of gold that I have, I will buy a token.
I was thinking that, like, when I got in briefly, about a month ago or so, whatever it was, that I was going to be like, maybe this is the time that I'll really just get into farming up the bags, because you can make those the Draenor bags.
Well, and there's still a good way to do that.
Right, but there's
a little bit of a barrier to entry to getting into the gold auction market, and doing it well enough to maintain a sub, yeah.
And because the prices keep going up, right?
They float right around 160 to 180 something K,
which I've never even had that much gold.
But you didn't stick with Legion. It's kind of the lunch money at this point. Like, you can really easily get, if you're willing to put any effort towards selling anything on the auction house, you can make that gold very quickly.
I absolutely believe that. Believe that.
There's a dude in my weekend team that's just constantly like, who wants to roll for gold? And he literally just slash rolls for 500,000 million gold.
Just drops it on people.
Just all the time.
Did they remove that cap?
Yeah, sort of.
It's higher now?
Yeah, it's much higher now. You can totally have multi-millions of gold.
Okay.
And a lot of people do. And they are just like, it's funny money, so everyone just messes with it and does, like, if you have a lot of gold, you are just throwing it around.
Might as well. See, that's what I want.
Yeah, I'd like to get into it too, especially now at the end of the expansion. It's kind of where I'm not having to farm up as much for my own personal needs. I can lean towards selling some stuff on the auction house again, which is interesting. It's actually one of the things that got me into WoW is the weird economies that exist on different servers. So be kind of interesting to dig into that a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted to be like, just to see if I could set up something where I could maintain enough gold to just roll over my subs, and even if I didn't really play, I had enough to kind of
just keep it going.
To kind of casually check in once a week, list some stuff, come back, have enough gold to pay for a monthly sub. But
yeah, and I've always wanted to learn how to do that. Like, I mean, just because it does seem like there are sound like economic principles there in playing the auction house and
I love
buying low and selling high kind of stuff.
Anytime I'd see an ad for people trying to sell for money their system for making gold on the auction house in WoW, just the funniest thing I've seen. Also, just a fun side note, because there's an exchange rate for WoW gold to American dollars. I've seen a guy from Venezuela keeping track of how much more the WoW gold
because there's whole economic crash.
Yes, and so WoW gold consistently and continuously stretches it's performing better and better versus the Venezuelan bolivar,
which is great.
And so you have
so amazing.
A fictional piece of gold worth more than the
I mean, as soon as they allowed you to like buy those tokens and buy the gold, like it assigns a monetary value, like an actual like value for in-game currency, which is such a weird thing to think about.
At least they're not doing what EVE Online does.
Right, definitely. So
pay money for game time, which takes up physical space in game. They actually employ several economists, because if they take one wrong step, they actually qualify as a bank.
And
I'm
sure WoW does not want to mess with that.
Right, they're simple. Their system's simple enough, but the way EVE does it is close enough that they've had some regulators talking to them, being like, "Yo, guys," and I think also Iceland, the where the studio is based, is also probably pretty cool with them, considering they make up like a sixth or a third of actual Iceland's GDP.
Really?
Oh, they.
I didn't realize they were that big.
Oh yeah. So
I know it's huge in the MMO world.
Well, no, it's huge, and it's so big, but it supports partially Iceland.
That's wild.
So like when they do,
I mean, it makes sense. They exist there. They pay taxes there.
Right, and every year when they do FanFest, everybody comes to Iceland. All the people who live there are super cool.
Oh, is it like their BlizzCon? Like EVE has its own BlizzCon?
Yes, except for it's not in LA. Nobody cares.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine if it was BlizzCon, but it was like everyone there was the family of Blizzard employees that knew that the reason they had to eat was you know. So like when there are people at restaurants, they're super chill with everyone.
That's
and, like,
pretty cool.
Super helpful. Like actually, I saw a video of someone as a joke had given the guys who were there filming it, American guys, had given them a boiled sheep's head in a bag. And
awesome.
And they had kind of tucked into it. They're like, I guess we're going to eat this internet. We got to do gross stuff, right? And so it's like trying to take a bite out of the side of it. And a guy who's like, they're sitting on the street at like outside a cafe or something. A guy driving by says, no, you're doing it wrong. Hang on. Goes and parks. Walks over. And it's like, no. You got to pull pieces like, and he walks him through how to eat the sheep's head. It's like, okay, yeah, good. And walks off and drives away.
That's great.
It's like,
that's so good.
This has got to be the weirdest country ever.
That's awesome.
Like you're eating that sheep's head wrong.
I know nothing about Iceland.
No, that's what I know about Iceland.
Yeah, I know nothing about Iceland.
Yeah. It's actually quite green.
Except, wait, it wasn't the whole Bobby Fischer chess match thing. Wasn't that in Iceland? I'm pretty sure it was.
Now you know more than about Iceland than I do.
Now that I think about it, I do know a little bit about Iceland.
And before we get into the chess cast here, we're just going to go ahead and call it there. So once again, as a reminder, we're in flux, not transition, but we're
still working out the schedule thing. Like, so if we're uploading videos a little later and only a couple a week, that's kind of why. Just real life work schedule stuff like that is changing up. So we'll find our footing schedule wise, hopefully in the next week or two, or unless things change even further.
Unless further changes,
IRL,
which is possible but not guaranteed. So either it'll be set this week or maybe within the next month. Anyway, we hope you bear with us. Space Marine should be up this week.
Yeah, that should be the last episode.
10.
The last episode should be going up after this. And then we'll be moving on.
Right.
I think we have some Overlord that needs to go up as well.
Right, but Overlord's also in a weird space, so we're
still trying to figure out how to handle Overlord.
It might be on hiatus. It might not.
If you're really stoked about Overlord, let us know, and we'll keep going with Overlord. We may just need to figure out a better way to present how that game works. As we find out, we may need to do a little bit more grinding to keep up.
Because it does seem it gets RPG.
Gets a little RPG, a little grindy, and if you want us to keep going with Overlord, let us know. If you hate Overlord, let us know.
Yeah, let us know how your feelings.
Overlord is in a weird spot, and if you guys want to see more of it, we are happy to keep going on it.
Right. Our goal, if nothing else, is to be entertaining. I mean, we're not saying we're successful, but it's our goal. So
yeah, we may do some where we'll do some farming
we will play it
off camera, and then we'll just do the story.
We have to play Overlord, so that'll happen. Right. At some point.
How we show that to you is really what we're trying to work out.
But we also got in our capture card. We've got to figure that out.
Yep,
so
got our El Gato.
So we're thinking about doing a different feature maybe sooner rather than later to get that dialed in as well. So Joe's already pretty much set up Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah, I got Hyperlight Drifter, and that's probably going to be my next
and
foray into a playthrough.
I'm thinking maybe something on the Switch, maybe not.
Switch is solid.
I don't know.
And we got some cool stuff coming out for it. So
we're still kind of... I don't want to say we're in flux, but I already said we're in flux.
We just have so many more options now.
It is crazy. And then expect some...
Trying to decide what direction to hit next.
Right. So we're going to try and get some footage of DBZ fighters.
And believe you're going to see some Monster Hunter.
Oh, you're going to see. Maybe we'll be able to get Nergigante down.
Eventually, sure.
No,
that'll be our feature for
we're
Monster
trying for
Hunter World.
For the demo. We're going to try and get Nergigante down.
Oh, for the during the demo. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good.
No, the 15-minute challenge.
Yeah, sounds good.
And you're gonna have to tone down the acrobatics.
Well, I've realized that's a less effective, even though it's more fun to do.
No,
and
flips
and the jumps.
There's a time and a place. If he's running away, flip up on him, knock him down.
Right. But I will do a lot more damage if I just stick to the ground until it's time to jump on.
And get your buffs.
Well, I was doing that.
Eat your food, drink your water.
But consistently getting all of the buffs that I need to maintain was a little bit more difficult than I had expected.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're just going to keep carrying on if we go on this.
Yeah, we could talk for hours.
So expect some things, but don't expect anything set for the moment. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep going on this because we're having too much damn fun. What'd you say, Joe?
Yeah, I mean,
you made a face.
Sure,
you made a face.
I was looking elsewhere.
I'm so disappointed.
I don't know what face I was making.
Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. As always, drop a comment, send us an email, let us know what you're thinking. And we'll catch you next time on the Backcast.
Catch you guys later.